This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Competition starting to get thick, it's the click, so I hope you watch your A game. A-man, no rain from the track when we unite and spit. This is an A game, better bring your A game. Competition starting to get thick, it's the click, so I hope you watch your A game. A-man, no rain from the track.
Hey now, it's the Mike and JD Show, and I'm your host, Mike Gilbert, and I'm joined as always by JD, by God Oliva. How you doing, JD?
I'm okay.
Yeah,
little behind the scenes stuff. Just before we started the show, Mike's microphone was like doing this. It was like watching for my 80s kids out there. It was like watching an old episode of Max Headroom. I'm sure anyone under the age of 30 just went, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah. Look up Max Headroom. That was a wild incident. That was Chicago TV, right?
Well, that was like the fake Max Headroom. Max Headroom was a real show in the 80s. Right. He was the spokesman for New Coke, a reference that I frequently use on this show when talking about AEW. Like the Max Headroom thing in Chicago, like some random dude interrupted the signals of both WGN TV, the superstation in Chicago, and WTTW, our PBS affiliate. Like he interrupted during the news for on WGN and then on Doctor Who for WTPW. So yeah, it was just a dude with a Max Headroom mask acting really weird and bitching about liberals.
Yeah,
super surreal, like TV moment.
Yeah, so literally a minute before we went on the air, my microphone crapped out on me. So I'm talking into my internal computer mic. So if it sounds a bit different, I apologize. If you guys can't hear me in the chat, let me know and I'll have to adjust and I'll just figure something out. But this is what happens when you're live on YouTube, man. You just got to run with it sometimes. And so, but before we get started, I want to give a shout out to the Patreon. JD has been doing some work on the Patreon this week. I have not done anything on Patreon this week.
Picking up your slack, man, which is
I know.
I'm always slacking.
Well, I was gonna do some WWE stuff on Monday, but I just couldn't get to it. In fact, I never ended up watching the NXT show. So, but I was gonna try to do something with Cousin Joe. We just couldn't get the timing right, and it just wasn't gonna work. And so, and then Monday night I was gonna record. I just couldn't do it. It just was out of the question Monday night. So
I get it.
But JD, man, killing the town, going strong.
It's supposed to chapter 6 today. It's good. It's keeping me on top of writing it. As we do this right now, by the way, when this show officially hits the the podcast waves, I don't know what you call it. When it hits your feed, it'll be the last day for the Gaijin Kickstarter. So this is it. If you have not backed Gaijin yet, please jump in. Book's not going to be available on Amazon for 6 months. This is the best time to get it. If you haven't yet, this is it. My month-long campaign ends. So, I'll plug it one more time before the show ends. But yeah, man, it's killing the town on this Patreon has like really inspired me. It's like keeping me on top of things. Like, it's been good. I think I'm going to start sharing the older chapters to my Substack because I gotta nurture my author network. Is one lesson I've learned from this Kickstarter campaign. Is I kind of let my writer network grow cold a little bit, and I gotta kind of feed that. But this is like, it's a great way to get back at it. To start, it was with you guys on the Patreon, and kind of helped me. I've had some good notes from people who have sent me stuff, which is awesome, and I'm real excited for the direction the story is going to take. If you're reading it, keep up. It's about to get crazy. It's a very personal story for me. I'm very happy with where it's going.
Yeah, man, and everybody seems to be pretty happy with it. We've got some pretty good feedback, and so keep it up, man. I'm proud of you. It's good stuff. I myself have done a thing in the last week. I have brought back Affliction T-shirts. As you can tell by my Brace for Impact Affliction shirt right here, I made this shirt. If you go into the YouTube description on this video, or even if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, it'll be in the description links. Just click the link to my TeePublic store. I decided to bring back Affliction shirts, well, because I lost a bet.
I heard.
And not only did I lose it, I got my ass kicked on this bet. I bet TNA. Well, they didn't accept the bet, but it was more to my followers. I bet that if I was so sure that TNA would not be able to do 3,000 seats or 3,000 tickets for Slammiversary in Montreal. I was so confident that I said if they did, I would buy a Big Kon T-shirt and wear it. Well, they're closing in on 4,000 tickets out right now. I don't want to say sold because I think they did a lot of giveaways, and they did do mass selling of blocks of tickets to some sponsors and stuff like that. But it's still, for TNA, this is humongous, right? This is a huge house for TNA, and so I'll forever have heat with PCO over the job he did getting boots on the ground and selling these tickets. But so I was like, I went to the TNA merch website, and they don't have a Big Kon shirt, which makes sense. So I just created my own. I was like, I bet Big Kon wears Affliction shirts. And it was a running joke on Brace for Impact that I was going to bring Affliction back one day. So I created a Big Kon shirt, put it up on my store, and bought it. You can't get it now. I don't want to make money off Big Kon's name. But I did tell him, and he knows that I put it out there. And he actually liked my comment that if he wants the design, he can just have it. So. But that is out there. So I will be wearing a Big Kon T-shirt for the post show for Slammiversary. So go to my TeePublic store. Head over to patreon.com/the Mike and JD show. But I was gonna start off talking some AEW, man. But we got a super chat.
Got a super chat.
Our number one hater of all things Triple HGH, Last Door Gamer, wants to start off hot today. So we're gonna go ahead and get to him. And as always, if you guys want to just stop us dead in our tracks and screw up our format, you're more than welcome to lay down a super chat.
We'll take it.
Glassdoor Gamer said Triple H took a shot at AEW pay-per-view length, acted like it wasn't intentional, then proceeds to bury some of their own pay-per-views. What a marble mouth. Yeah. He's not very good at these press conferences, but I don't know that he was too bad on this one.
I was listening to our bosses, Joe and Rich, on the flagship today. They had an early flagship. Usually they run the same day that we do. So they are a day ahead of us this week. Joe put it best, or was it Rich? I forget who. He's not corporately trained. Like he doesn't, which is kind of a breath of fresh air a little bit. I don't hate on the guy for not being corporately trained because sometimes you get some realistic answers out of him. Like he's a tremendous asshole. And like he says stuff like that. It gives you a window into the man's soul. And like, it's so funny to me that people slam, like that is the new Legential thing, is they're slamming the length of pay-per-views because making you pay $50 and giving you more content for the money you've paid is somehow a bad thing. And again, people listen to us aren't going to disagree with me. I wish some WWE geek would show up in the chat right now. Be like, no, man, I get $5 a month so I can get 5 matches and it's the best. So whatever. I mean, like, I like that that when I pay money for a show, $50, that I'm going to get a bunch of matches. Like I didn't have a problem. People are like, oh my God, these shows are so long. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know about you. I'm pretty cheap. Like if I'm going to spend money on a product, I kind of want to make sure I get my money's worth. And like $10 a match is a lot for me, man. That seems like a lot. Yeah. So like, I know it's a better vibe for me personally. And Triple H is I don't know. He's aiding and abetting a rapist and making jokes about it on his TV shows. So, I mean, I don't really go to him for any moral quandaries.
No. And me personally, I wish AEW shows were a bit shorter, but that's because I try to watch the full thing so that way I can do a podcast afterward. And I'm only thinking of myself, and I personally am not paying for these things. So I'm just like, I personally would like them to be shorter, but I understand why they're longer because they're charging $50. They want to make sure that you're getting more than your money's worth. So of course they're going to charge. Of course they're going to try to go above and beyond to give you everything. Why but I'll be honest. When WWE was doing those 6 and 7 hour shows, which is what, and we got a guest coming on. We'll bring him on in a second. When WWE was doing those 6 and 7 hour shows under the Vince regime a couple years ago, I was disgusted with those things. I did not want those to be long, but that's just because they were really bad. But because I didn't have a podcast, I was like, I'll just skip it. I won't watch all of it. Or I'll just fast forward through and see what I want to see, which is kind of what I do right now for WWE anyway.
So I got a text today from Joe Ziegler. He of Betamax Memories coming soon to the Mike and JD Patreon. Yes, he went and saw Horizon today, the new Kevin Costner movie. I haven't seen it yet. I'm one of the vast majority of Americans who haven't seen this movie. His critique was long, boring, couldn't stay for the last 20 minutes. And this is a man that I have seen many a bad movie with. So for him to get up, and also one of the laziest people I know, for him to get up and leave a movie theater really says something about how just because it's longer doesn't mean it's better. Like, dude, I love Forbidden Door. I thought every match on that was a freaking banger.